Hi, Dr. Reagan Robertson, CCO of Productive Dentist Academy here, and I have a question for you. Are you finding it hard to get your team aligned to your vision, but you know you deserve growth just like everybody else? That's why we've created the PDA Productivity Workshop. For nearly 20 years, PDA workshops have helped dentists just like you align their teams, get control of scheduling, and create productive practices that they love walking into every day. Just imagine how you will feel when you know your schedule is productive, your systems are humming, and your team is aligned to your vision. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy. We can help. Visit productivedentist.com/workshop. That's productivedentist.com/workshop to secure your seats now.
And sometimes we think that the business value is separate from my personal values. And what you're pointing out to me is that they're more closely linked than you might think.
They're extremely closely linked. And, it's kind of like, along with value, I like to use the word integrity.
Welcome to Investment Grade Practices Podcast, where we believe private practice dentists deserve to get the lifestyle today while building an asset for tomorrow. Join your host, Victoria Peterson, to design the practice of your dreams and secure your financial independence. Let's get started.
I am so thrilled to have my business partner of 17 years, the one and only Dr. Bruce B. Baird in the house. How you doing, Bruce?
I am doing great, Victoria. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We could do a whole podcast on what makes a partnership work.
Oh, that's for certain. That's for certain. That would be an interesting. We might want to do that just for the heck of it.
We may do that, and I know we're gonna dip into that today because I've got you in the hot seat about building value in the dental practice. And I've known you for more than 20 years. I watched you buy, I've watched you sell, I've watched you pull money out of thin air. It is magic, and I want listeners to kind of tap into that mindset that you have a little bit today.
Well, I'm looking forward to sharing. I just like I tell everybody, just tell them what you know. I can't make up stuff. I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
I'm not good
I think we'll have to do an extended version so we can get into ex-partners leaving into trailers and different things like that.
That would be an awesome one. That would be.
That's going to be it. Let's do an outtakes on what not to do as a business owner.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've had, 8 or 9 associates over the years and several partners, and just things evolve. Things evolve in the dental practice that you may or may not even expect. But I know when you're trying to build something special, you need to have the right people around you, and you need to have the right partners. And we're not all great at picking people, And I've been really fortunate, but you have to have, I guess the word is, you have to be comfortable having crucial conversations when it comes down to business. And that's the one thing that I think has helped me more than anything, is the ability to be able to do that.
I agree with that so much. And if I had to, people say, if there's one book you could read on leadership or business, should I do the E-Myth? Should I do this? Should I do that? I would say start with Crucial Conversations and read that book once a year, because that informs everything, your ability to, not just your business, but your life.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I love the E-Myth, and I love all those, read them and started putting it into play, but not until I was able to have a conversation that was uncomfortable, but make it comfortable. And being upfront is, and I don't know if I like the word transparent. It's not that word. It's being honest and just saying, hey, this is a problem I see, and how are we going to solve it? And if you can have those conversations with team members, you can have these conversations with associates, with partners, with spouses, I think if you learn to do that, I just think it makes you better.
I love that. We haven't talked about this. I heard a definition the other day of honest. It's a truth with compassion.
Perfect. I love that.
Isn't that great? So
I do. I love
it's
it.
going to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can really piss people off. You can really piss people off, just being honest. But that's kind of like reminds me of an old movie. What was that? Anyway,
well, so let's stay on this, because at the heart of value, at the heart of building value, is being able to separate fact from emotion, being able to see this is short-term gain, this is long-term value. It does come down to truth and probably compassion with yourself as a practice owner sometimes, because I know in my career, I woke up and man, I should be further down the line than this. And I'm comparing myself to others. And it's really hard to keep in your head in the game of playing your game. And I want to go through with you today, because you just have such experience in both buying and selling dental practices. What are the top 1 or 2, 3 things that really have to be there so that there's value and the business continues after you, right? Because the buyer's not buying something to fail. They want to buy something that they can grow. So how do you prepare that piece?
I have to go back to difficult times where when I sold half the practice, or I owned half the practice. This is back 30 years ago, and I sold it through a group that came in that said, I'm not going to use names, but they're practice brokers. And I was leaving a partnership situation because I wasn't willing to I think I had the crucial conversations, but my partner wasn't willing to make changes. And he was, he wanted to charge what I was charging for a crown, yet send work to China. And I had been through, Dawson and through all these courses. And I really wanted to use the top-notch labs, and I wanted to charge a little more because of it. And so I didn't have that conversation. But anyway, finally I just said, you know what, it's time for me to leave the practice. And so I sold it and I thought I had full disclosure. I said, hey, this is my practice. This is what I produce. And these are the people that work with me. This person came in and bought it, but then because he didn't get along with my old partner, then lawsuits started. Fortunately, I wasn't involved, but it was with the brokerage firm and everything else. Like, this isn't what you sold me. This isn't what you told me. So I just think having a practice that is solid financially, with good, solid numbers, that has good new patient flow, well-trained team. I mean, these are the things that keep you out of that type problem, because it's even greater now. I mean, if you represent something, hopefully that is what it is, because, I laugh because after I brought Dr. Boosky, after he became my partner, his production jumped by 500 an hour. And I said, well, why the hell didn't you do that before? He says, I don't know. It's like when your partner has his, has his money on the line now and has borrowed money, they become very much more efficient with their time. They start working harder. As an associate, you work until you make as much as you think you want to make, and then you just kind of keep on going down the road. So, I mean, those are the things that I've seen. There are reasons to bring somebody on as a partner. They have to bring value to the conversation, which Jeff always did. So, I mean, those are the things that I look at.
Oh, this is perfect. And I'm just going to keep teasing apart this word value. You've said it 2 or 3 times, and that is at the heart of building an investment grade practice. If cash flow is good, you got to have cash flow, but what's supporting that cash flow is value. And it really, there's 2 sides of that word. There's my values, my core values, my personal standards, if you will, and then there's the value. And sometimes we think that the business value is separate from my personal values. And what you're pointing out to me is that they're more closely linked than you might think.
Oh, they're extremely closely linked. And, it's kind of like, along with value, I like to use the word integrity, and relationship, the agreed upon course of action between 2 parties. It's the same thing we do when we're treatment planning patients. We get into a relationship with them. It's important. I wasn't the best at it the first 10 years. But I had to learn to get into relationship with people. I had to learn that these are the things that I value, and I'm not going to compromise those, which almost crosses over into, I'm just going to always try to do things the right way. I'm always going to try to do things, when my team member says, should we charge a build-up? I said, well, we didn't do a build-up on that patient, so we're not going to charge for it. Where it would be very easy for them. Yeah, it was a deep one. Let's just go ahead and charge for it. No, that's integrity. So it's kind of like the value integrity relationship. The connection between those things is critical. Build relationship with your patients, build relationships with your team, build relationships with partners and associates. And relationship, again, is that agreed upon course of action. Sometimes you have to have crucial conversations to come to agreement. Right. That's okay. That's okay as long as you have them. If you don't, then that's when things start getting fuzzy around the edges. And when that happens, you're probably not going to end up where you thought you were going to be or where you want to be.
No, that gets you in trouble really fast. And gosh, I love the stories that you weave into everything. And that little story really points out that the value of the leader, the value of the owner, their number one value is clarity. Just clarifying. And back to those values of integrity. Is it true? Is it what we said we would do? Are we honoring our word? Is it what we put down in our philosophy of care, our expectations? Because continuity, consistency, those are things that build trust, and trust is what you're really selling.
That's right. Yeah, you have to build trust. Yeah,
you call it goodwill, but it's like, do your patients trust that this is a place they want to continue coming?
And and if I was a doctor looking at a practice to purchase, for instance, or what we call an investment grade practice, something that I'd be willing to invest in, I'm going to look at different things. I'm not just going to look at new patient flow. I'm going to look at, what's been being treatment plan, what's the average treatment plan that are being accepted, how does a team work, and how do they interface with in the practice? Obviously, facility. You want to have, you don't have to have the latest and greatest of everything, but you want it to be aligned with your values. If you're high tech, high touch, you want to have at least a few high tech items in there. Otherwise, you kind of got a little bit of a disconnect there. And, I had the decision to make: do I want a PPO practice or do I want a fee for service practice? And what would a fee for service practice look like compared to a PPO practice? And those lines, to me, they can be blurred, because there's a lot of PPO practices that have CBCTs, but our practice had everything. Why? Because I used them all. I didn't buy them just for the heck of it. But that was early on in my career, is when I bought things just for the heck of it, because the salesperson was really pretty or whatever, and I'd buy it, and then I'd wonder, what the hell am I going to do with this? And it would end up in the boneyard, up in the attic. But after a few years of realizing that doesn't work, an investment grade practice is one that has a great feel when you walk in. And before I bought anything, I would watch the doctor in play. Now, there's certain times where you can't get to do that, but to come in and observe how the flow in the practice goes, are people positive? Are they, and that doesn't mean you don't buy the practice. It just means that you may have to blow up a few things after you buy it.
That is the reality. And God, I've coached so many doctors, and they're like, well, I got what I got, and I inherited the team, and what can I do? And I was like,
yes.
Do everything. And I'm working with a doctor right now, and I understand why he wants to move on and start his own practice. Spaces are tight. It's almost impossible to buy. It's a really good price. I mean, the opposite of that is you find a practice that kind of gave up, and they're still locked in Naga hide and shag carpet.
Love that shag carpet and those ceiling fans. Oh, yeah.
But you have to know that if you're buying that kind of practice, there's the cost of the purchase, But then there's the demolition and the rebuilding of not only the facility and the team, but also the brand awareness that this is a different kind of place, right? So I think people often don't look at the true cost because of the construction and the team training.
Right. I mean, I think if someone becomes very skilled, and I'm talking about a dentist that wants to expand, wants to go in and buy a practice, leave as an associate. My suggestion would be become very good at leadership, become very good, read everything you can get your hands on about leadership, read everything you can get your hands on about, again, we talked about crucial conversations, about building relationships, about neurolinguistic programming, when people look at you a certain way, what does that mean? All these things, being able to communicate better. Because, you're going to go into a situation that every situation is different, and you have to have the skills to be able to, turn on a dime and say, this is the way I want to do this. This is the way I want to do that. Yeah, you may hurt some feelings, but my experience has been, if people aren't happy in a place, they need to find a happy place. And if they're not going to be happy with you as the leader, then you have to be comfortable to say, but I know all the patients know this person. I know that. That's okay. They got to go. They're a negative influence on your business, and it is now your business if you're buying it.
I love that. How long do you think it really takes of vigilance and constantly investing in your practice for it to be at that place where it is sellable at its maximum value? There's team buy-in, there's congruency, there's the value there. Can you do it in 3 months?
I would say it's a commitment to my entire career to build something that is special, So what would it take? I know that I can walk into any practice, let's just say one that's tore up, and within 3 months, I could definitely have productivity increase. I could definitely increase value. But I think I also could determine the people that are there. Are these the people that need to stay? Are these the people that, and to me, team really reflects revenue much greater than we've ever thought. I have to say, when I put the handpiece up, it's actually 2 years ago today. Although I did cut a crown prep Monday and checked a hygiene patient today. I was kind of fun.
Happy semi-retirement.
Yeah, but I went in just to see a physician buddy of mine. But what was really funny is I trained my 3 team members, my 3 chairside treatment coordinators. I trained them for years, and we became just inseparable as far as being productive. And our productivity was ridiculous. And Jeff, my partner, he always was, his team wouldn't show up or they wouldn't do this. My team would show up even if they were sick. I had to send them home. And then all of a sudden, and I thought, as soon as I leave, this place is going to crater. And I was wrong. You know why we didn't crater? Because of the 3 team members. They're so good. They went and he hired all 3 of them. I mean, didn't hire them. They were already hired, but he moved them working with him, got rid of all of his assistants. And guess what? His production went from probably $1,200 to $1,300 an hour, which is great, to $2,500 an hour. So he grew by $1,200 an hour just by changing assistants. Now, okay, is that normal? Well, I think anybody can do that. If you train your team with what you want, I think, yes, you can increase your productivity. So the question was, does it take 3 months, 3 years? I would say if you're within 5 years of the time that you want to have a transition, you could create something. First of all, you could triple the value of your business.
Right.
You could make it so much more appealable to someone wanting to buy. And it's a simple conversation. It's simple things you have to do, but you have to do them all.
It's so well put. I just did the math on that. Your 3 assistants improved productivity for that doctor, $1.6 million a year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's killing it right now.
I hope they got a bonus.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He is absolutely killing it now. He is he's hitting on all cylinders. And you know what that taught him? He just learned a lot. I mean, it was just great for him to see that, because now he's going to build that with those assistants and with others around him. So, that's exciting. I mean, it's exciting for him. I love seeing it, but it's also been good for my team. And
Yes.
I thought,
You got to find out how good they are.
yeah, it's good for them. They know, yep, we're the real deal. So, yeah.
Well, one of the principles of building an investment grade practice is know how to build value that gives you a great living, right? I'm here, I'm productive, I've got a great value. But then the investment grade business piece is learn how to expand that value beyond yourself. That's where you start to really get to live the life that you want. And I watched you on your journey go from 4 days to 3.5 to 3 to 2, and then sustain that at unprecedented levels for a decade. And so there's building value, which makes a living. And then there's creating value beyond yourself, like you were talking about with your assistants that help you build a life.
Yeah. I love being able to be so much more productive in fewer hours because it gave me a life. And I see so many dentists, they're just busting it all day and worried about the business and everything else. And we've always talked about this is understand your business, learn about business, understand your business. It's not hard. Dentistry is not complicated when it comes down to it, but you got to spend a little bit of time to do that. We're all going to spend time to go learn how to do a molar endo and find MD2, but are you going to spend that much time to learn how to run your business? Yeah, most don't.
Bruce, once again, thank you for joining me on this very special topic of value. I learned a lot today.
Thanks, Victoria.
And you really surfaced that value is created by living your values. And I appreciate you as a partner. And I really just appreciate you and Cynthia as human beings.
Thank you. Well, you and Pete too. We just love it. We're great partners. And I tell you, it's been a great 17-year run. And I hope it runs another 17.
I'd like to be around for that.
Yeah, I would too. Yes, you got a deal.
I will if you will.
I will. If the good Lord's willing.
There you go. Thanks so much, Bruce.
Thank you, Victoria.
It is always a pleasure spending time with my partner, Dr. Baird. And if you haven't met him yet, you probably are already getting a sense that he's just a really great guy. And in dentistry, I think he's a unicorn. He is a diplomat in the ICOI. He is one of the top educators in the nation clinically, but he's also a very savvy business person. And balancing both business and clinical effort is an art form that I think Bruce has elevated to the highest levels. Here's what I took away from that conversation. Everywhere you go, you hear people say, get outside of your comfort zone. Outside of your comfort zone is where the growth is. That's where the excitement in life is. And I don't disagree with that. However, today, I want to invite you to get in your comfort zone. Get comfortable. You heard Bruce say that word a lot. Get comfortable having crucial conversations. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Get comfortable, in your own skin. Get comfortable about who you are, what your values are, and then align everything in your world around that. And it gave some real great examples. So, for example, if your value is high-tech, high-touch, I really value having the latest innovations available for my patients. What Bruce is really saying in that value of high-tech, high-touch is I value learning. I value progress. I value staying up to date and current so I can deliver the most current technology and techniques to my patients. So he's really valuing progress. That informs you on what technologies am I going to purchase. He purchases technology at a higher rate than someone that doesn't have that as part of their value thread. And he's comfortable with that. He's comfortable spending money on that. And he's developed a way of valuing, is this piece of technology correct for my practice? You probably heard that as well. I had a lot of equipment that ended up in the boneyard in the attic. So that's the next thing I'd love for you to get comfortable in. Get comfortable saying no. No, this is not the right technology for my practice today. No, I will not implement this until I know I have team support and I can train them to use it. No, I will not let this sit in the corner. Team, we are going to be trained on this. So knowing your core values and getting comfortable being in your comfort zone is different than being afraid and not trying anything new. Can you hear the difference there? The more you understand and clarify your value, the more value you can bring because you're very comfortable having those crucial conversations. This fits, this doesn't. This is correct for me in my practice today. This is not correct for me in my practice today. It's not a right or wrong conversation. Everyone gets to have their values. Most of the time, we're not living in our values, though. We're running out of fear. We're running out of panic. The world around us, the digital age that we're in, the pace that we're in, has really turned on our splenic centers. It has turned on our amygdala, our fight or flight, panic, anxiety, freeze states. So get comfortable being relaxed. Get comfortable working from a place of ease. I have had the pleasure of being surrounded by world leaders since my early 20s. I can remember the president of Coca-Cola back in 1984 came to my house, and Robert Keogh, just a gracious gentleman. And I thought, here is a gentleman who is in charge of Coca-Cola globally. Every franchise, every bottler, all the marketing, all the advertising, all the storms. That was back when New Coke was coming out, and boy, oh boy, was that just a colossal mess. And this gentleman was so poised, so polished, so at ease in his own skin. And in my mind, in my early 20s, a paradigm locked in. The higher you go on the leadership ladder, the less stressed you are. Now, I know that's not true, but I know that great leaders demonstrate ease. When they walk in the room, people feel better because they walked in the room. Having these oh shit moments when the doctor walks in the room is not good for your team. If you can be clear about who you are, you can be clear about the roles and the expectations, and you can bring ease to the situation. What you're actually doing as a leader is down-regulating that fight or flight sense. It's down-regulating the adrenaline. It's down-regulating the cortisols within your teammates. Here's the big benefit. It down-regulates the drama. Less drama, less resistance. The faster, the easier, the smoother your day goes. And Bruce was really pointing to that. You know, his advice was learn everything you can about leadership, building relationships, body language, communication, neurolinguistics, everything that you can get your hand on, because at the heart of leadership is communication. That communication starts with your core beliefs, your values, what you tell yourself about other people. And if you've been around PDA for very long, you've heard a lot of Bruce's stories, and he tells the stories of smiley face, frowny face. And he said, what is this? And they said, oh, well, you're going to have to go talk to Emily. So he goes to the office manager, Emily, what's this smiley face, frowny face I see? And she goes, oh, are you just now seeing that? And he goes, yeah, how long has it been there? Oh, 3 years. Well, what is it? She goes, well, every day when you walk in, we judge what kind of mood you're in. So I put up a frowny face or a smiley face, and the team knows whether it's going to be a good day or if they should duck and run. And he's like, really? That's me? You see, as a leader, we don't often see or feel the impact we have on others. And it really is a gift when your team can reflect back to you, yeah, you're kind of a butthead today, and it's bringing people down. So what an interesting concept that to build an investment grade practice, you got to get in your comfort zone. You have to get clarity within yourself about who I am, what I'm building, and where I'm going. Then you're not pulled off track. And you can give permission for others to get comfortable. Hear me well. I'm not saying lazy. I'm not saying unaccountable. I'm not saying uncreative or unimaginative or innovative. Those are different words. So don't confuse being comfortable in your own skin with being locked in your comfort zone and never changing. Two very different things. I want to thank Dr. Baird for being my partner of 17 years of leading the way in dentistry on what an investment grade practice looks like, and for this incredible interview. I learned a lot.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Investment Grade Practices Podcast. If you find value in this episode, help us spread the word by passing it along to a dental friend, subscribe, and give us a like on iTunes or Spotify. Learn more about building your investment grade practice at productivedentist.com today.